This is the biggest upcoming offseason in Chicago Bears history. Ryan Poles needs to solidify this group in 2024 in order to keep things going. With a defense that is one of the best in the league now, I think that he has saved his job at least for another year. Along with owning two top 5 picks at the moment in 2024, we are in a spot to get things completed. In today's mock draft, I am going to do a few trade backs with both of those picks in order to get more picks and help solidify this team. Hello everyone and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Dick Brody and as always, thank you for tuning in. I have full faith in Ryan Poles in company of finishing off this roster to be a contender in 2024. So the current draft order for the Chicago Bears stands as is. We have the number 1 pick from Carolina, the number 5 pick, the number 72 pick, the number 107 pick, the number 127 pick from the Philadelphia Eagles, and the number 140 pick. 6 picks at the moment, and I am going to trade back a few times here to get more picks in, especially in the early to mid rounds, to help address areas of need. And yes, I am still going to get wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., a generational type talent. Before we begin this episode, if you want or think that Ryan Poles will trade back some of these picks in the upcoming draft, throw a like on this video. Also, if you enjoy this mock, at the end of the video, make sure to throw it a like and throw your ideal trade backs and choices in the comment section below. Would love to see what you would do if you were Ryan Poles. So let's start with some trades. The Patriots, the Jets, and the Raiders, and even the Steelers are all going to be looking for their quarterback one of the future and want the best of the best. Patriots, Raiders, and maybe soon the Steelers will be in a rebuild for the next year or two. And with the Jets having Aaron Rodgers, he won't be around forever either. So I now have 4 teams in my back pocket calling me to move up in the draft, and the farther back they are, the bigger the haul will be. But the guys that are closer, like the Patriots, who are right on the Bears' tail for that number 1 pick, could be coming still with a very decent haul. And guess what? I'm trading with 3 of 4 of these teams. Stay tuned for that. So my first trade is I am sending the number 1 pick to the New England Patriots, and I am receiving the number 2 pick, the number 35 pick, and a 2025 first rounder. Yes, it is to move 1 spot, but the Bears can still get Marvin Harrison Jr. in this situation, a center in the second with pick number 35, and also, teams are going to be calling with bigger hauls than the Patriots. And if they want to go get the number 1 guy, which everyone's saying is Caleb Williams, they're going to have to give up a second first rounder for him. And with the Arizona Cardinals and Washington Commanders at 3 and 4, both those teams have quarterbacks, but they still need top priority positions like offensive linemen and edges. So they're going to stay at their spot as well. So now I have number 2 and number 35 in this draft, but I'm going to go back and get some more thanks to having the number 5 pick. The second trade that I'm going to be doing in this draft with the number 5 pick is going to be bigger. And since Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, and the New York Jets will still be desperate to move up and get a quarterback ahead of whoever else, they're going to send some pretty good leverage as well. So I am sending the number 5 pick to the New York Jets as my second trade. And I am receiving the number 7, the number 69, a 2025 second, and a 2025 fifth. They're moving up 2 spots, but a crap load of teams are going to be coming for the Bears to have another pick. And also it gives the Bears another 3rd rounder this year. Yes, they are moving up only 2 spots, but there's still going to be teams calling the Bears to give a haul for the number 5 pick if there are still top quarterbacks on the board. With this, the Bears still stay within the top 10 with 7. They get another 3rd round pick. They get another second next year, having 3 for 2025. And another 5th for next year. And finally, I am doing one more trade, and that is with the Las Vegas Raiders. I am sending the number 7 that I got from the New York Jets to the Las Vegas Raiders, and I am receiving the Raiders number 12, number 43, which is their 2nd round pick, another 2025 2nd round pick, and a 2025 4th. The Raiders will not be good next year, making that 2nd round next year in a very early position in the 2nd. They're going to want a new quarterback. It's going to be a rebuilding year, and I'm very very excited about that. So I'm going to have 3 seconds in 2025, a couple other extra later ones in 2025, and another first in 2025. But this year, after all that, Chicago will then own, after my trade scenario, number 2 via the New England Patriots, number 12 via the Las Vegas Raiders, number 35 via the New England Patriots, number 43 via the Las Vegas Raiders, number 69 via the New York Jets, number 72, number 107, number 127 via the Philadelphia Eagles, and then number 140. I now have 9 picks, 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth, and 1 in the fifth. So let's get into who I would pick. At pick number 2 that I received easy money, I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver from Ohio State University. I think I've gone through this guy so many times and everyone knows about him, but just quickly on Marvin Harrison is that he's 6'4", 205 pounds and runs a 4.39 40 time, has great hand speed, size, and vision for a wide receiver and can run any sort of route and be a threat. He has great hands, as always. Like, that is the big thing for the Bears, especially after this past weekend. We don't have to hit on that. But last year for Ohio State, he had 1,211 receiving yards and 18.1 yard per catch average and 14 receiving touchdowns. He fills in the need of a big-bodied wide receiver, a wide receiver 2 for Justin Fields along the pair with DJ Moore, and reliable, no drops. So then now with number 12, I'm addressing the other big need of the Chicago Bears at edge, and I am drafting Chop Robinson from Penn State. The 6'3", 250-pound edge runs a 4.6 40 time, is insanely fast off the snap, a high motor as well, great tackler, and fantastic at getting at the backfield. In limited games this year with Penn State, he was still a one-man wrecking crew, having 15 total tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 1 pass deflection, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 forced fumbles. Fills in that need for another edge across from Montez Sweat. He's young, he's fast, he'll be on a rookie contract, and massive backfield presence. At pick number 35, I am not risking losing him, and I know this is a high pick for this type of player, but I am taking center Cedric Van Prom from Georgia. 6'4", 310 pounds, runs a 5.29 40 time. His pass blocking is elite at the center position. His run blocking is top 5 in college for a center as well, and he is not a penalty machine, which is massive for the Chicago Bears. He helps solidify the interior of the offensive line that we need at center for years to come. He has a high football IQ according to scouts, making him very easy to read defenses and potentially switch plays at the line, and a massive body up the middle. At pick number 43, I am staying on the offensive line, and I'm going with a tackle, especially with how Braxton Jones did against the Cleveland Browns. His trust went a little bit down again with me, and I want to make sure that we do have the depth and the top talent that we can get at that pick in order to solidify left tackle. And if Nate Davis doesn't work out, move Jones to guard. But I am taking offensive tackle Troy Fontenot from Washington. 6'4", 317 pounds, runs a 5.2 40 time. His pass blocking for the offensive tackle position is top 10 in college according to scouts, run blocking top 5 according to scouts, and has great hands and feet to stay up with edges, and also has great balance. A solid depth piece to the offensive line, maybe even a starter if that situation of the line switch up happens. Great in pass protection and run blocking, and he is very reliable. So far, I have addressed the need at wide receiver, edge, center, and offensive tackle depth. Again, this is without free agent moves. And before I get into the rest of my draft, I am closing in on hitting 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. One, cannot thank you all enough for your support, but if you could, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button to help me reach that milestone before the closure of 2024. And also, you're automatically entered into our final week of the year giveaway. You're not going to want to miss it. So at pick number 69 for the Chicago Bears, I'm going back to the defensive side of the ball, and I'm addressing the need at safety since Eddie Jackson will likely be gone, and I am taking Cameron Kitchens, safety from Miami. The 6', 205 pound safety runs a 4.45 40 time. He's an absolute ball hawk with great vision, speed, and footwork. Also a hard hitting to help cause fumbles and drops. He had 59 total tackles, 40 being solo, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 5 interceptions, 1 that went for a touchdown, 5 pass deflections, and 1 fumble recovery for Miami this past season. Replacing Eddie Jackson with his skills for a fraction of the cost, another ball hawk that would really make this secondary scary, especially if we re-sign Jalen Johnson. And not a need or anything, but he is good friends with Tyreek Stevenson, who he played with at Miami, and those two were very scary to go against as a quarterback. I like this guy a lot. At pick number 72, I am going in a direction that a lot of people haven't talked about, but if D'Onta Foreman ends up leaving because his one-year contract expires, I'm going with running back, and I'm going with running back Trey Benson from Florida State. The 6'1", 223-pound running back runs a 4.37 40 time for a guy that big, a big, angry running back that is fast and can bulldoze over anybody. Also a very strong pass blocker, making that 2 pass blocking running backs with him and Rashawn Johnson. He had 905 rushing yards last year for Florida State with a 5.8 yard per carry average, 14 rushing touchdowns, 20 receptions for 227 yards, and 11.4 yard per catch average, and 1 receiving touchdown. A big man in the room with Herbert and Johnson. His pass blocking is undeniable, and his skills are what you need in a running back. So at pick 107, I've talked about this guy before, and I really want him still, is Cade Stover, tight end from Ohio State University. The 6'4", 251-pound tight end runs a 4.55 40 time, being a big, strong tight end who is an effective run blocker and battles for yards. Great hands too. Don't have to worry about drops like Robert Tonyan. Great blocker, strong hands, battles for yards. What more do you want to pair him with Cole Kmet? At pick 127, he is my big sleeper right now. Defensive tackle Tyleik Williams from Ohio State University. 6'2", 290 pounds, runs a 4.78 40 time for a big man like that. Fast off the snap, high motor, great tackle, and huge run stopper. He's had 49 total tackles this year for the Buckeyes, 10 tackles for loss, 3 sacks up the middle, 5 pass deflections. Again, he's only 6'2", and 1 fumble recovery. As a defensive lineman, very impressive. Great depth at the defensive tackle position and a fast and good run stopper. In my final pick in this mock draft, pick number 140, why not give the offense one more weapon? And I'm going with Washington wide receiver Jalen McClellan. 6'1", 192 pounds, running a 4.38 40 time. He is a fast wide receiver, good motor, good hands, keeps moving for yards, has a good yard per catch at 13.9 yards, especially last year. He was limited this year. That's why his drop staff fell, but he had almost 1,100 yards last year with 9 receiving touchdowns, strong hands, and a first down machine. You gotta love it. This would be insane if we were actually able to pull this off, get all that extra draft capital, because we address everything. And even though the Bears would be rebuilding still because they have a lot of rookies out there, you have a lot of young established veterans that will carry this team, and those guys will only get better as the season goes on. And I really enjoyed making Mock Draft 3.0. Again, now that you've watched it, put your thoughts in the comment section below, what you would do, what you think of my draft, and please hit that like button, and also please subscribe to the channel to help me at 10K. But with that, thank you as always for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde, and as always, bear down, baby.